Good afternoon to all. Myself Shaktivel. I'm an application engineer from EGS Computers India Private Limited. Today we are going to see about how to customize our SolidWorks design library for faster design and to improve our design cycle. So if any questions or doubts, there's a, at the end of the session there's a Q&A. So kindly ask at that time. Okay. Well, first of all, we EGS Computers India Private Limited, we have started our career since 1993 and we are running successfully for past 29 years and we have 140 members of our team, and also we are having three branches in Chennai. Head office is at Chennai and the other two locations are one in Coimbatore and another one branch is in Trichy. And we are providing various verticals of customers for very value added services for over 1500 plus customers. And then we'll just start with our agenda. Well, the today's agenda is first the introduction to our design library. So what is design library and how we can use them, and then a SolidWorks toolbox, standard fasteners fasteners, bearings, which are all available on our toolbox components, and then the design library. Here, where the standard components were located, we can able to easily drag and drop and using them for our design process. And then the SolidWorks routing components, and then the cloud libraries contains SolidWorks contents and 3D components. These are comes under cloud libraries, and finally the summary. Well, first, what is a design library? Well, it is a centralized location for the reusable elements like such as parts, assemblies, sketches, blocks. These are located on our task pan, which is in our SolidWorks window, which is located at the right hand side of our window. There you can able to see the icon showing that this book symbol is known as the design library. It contains toolbox components, and as well as these components we can able to use by dragging and dropping into our models. For that we can able to reduce our time drastically. First we see about the user interface. In our task pan there is a design library. In the design library we can able to see that the add to library and adding the file locations and creating new folders and the refreshing tabs, as well as the configure toolbox. We'll come to this topics later. And followed by there is a toolbox and the design library, SolidWorks contents, 3D components. These are all located in our design library tab. So we'll just see one by one. First and foremost thing is the SolidWorks Toolbox. SolidWorks Toolbox, which is only available, it is an add-in product which is available in our SolidWorks Professional and Premium versions. And then it contains the various international standards like ANSI, ISO, BSI, like that. In that standards, there is a hardware and fasteners like the bearings, bolts, screws, retainers, washers. These are all available and preloaded in our design library. We can directly use them. And then here I am showing how to enable our SolidWorks Toolbox library by adding from the active session or from the startup window. So we can able to check that, and then I'm using one of the toolbox component like the hexagon bolt. I'm just dragging and dropping into our graphical window. Here I can able to choose the size and shape, size and length of the particular fastener. Or else if I want to directly add to my like hole location, I'm just directly dragging and dropping to my location where the hole were located. So by putting like that, it will automatically takes the size. We just mention the only the length. If we want to add one more, we just need to click on the other holes for adding one more one. And then the SolidWorks hole wizard. It will comes in every seats of our SolidWorks, like the standard, professional, and premium versions. It also having the standards like hole types and various hole types for our purpose using in our design process, like the counter bore, counter sink, and the straight tab slots. These are all which are preloaded in our whole wizard. If we want, like why we want to use this whole wizard instead of we creating holes using our revolve cut or extrude cut method. If we create revolve cut or extrude cut method means it will, if we just adding some toolbox library components, it will recognize, and if we want to choose most of the, it will shows all the components, and we need to choose which one is perfect for that particular hole that which we created manually. If we created using the hole wizard means it will suggest us these are the types of head screws which will able to locate in there. As well as if the, if we moving to the drawings, the whole callouts will automatically populate over there, like mentioning the size and type and length of the fasteners. But if it we created using manual method, we need to give the notes. So that's why we are using the whole wizard. And then the smart fasteners. Well, why we need to go to smart fasteners? We are having already a SolidWorks Toolbox library. So if it, if you're using the normal SolidWorks Toolbox library means we'll just need to like dragging and dropping into our n number of holes. Like if the pattern the holes means there means we need to click each and every holes by simultaneously and it will adding upon. But in smart fasteners, if we just click any of the hole, if it is a patterned one, it will automatically created another pattern like patterned holes. It will automatically added the fasteners as well as the washers and bolts. These will all add over there. It will also support all the international standards like ANSI, ISOs, like that. And then here I am just creating one smart fastener. I'm just adding one hole, just selecting that hole face and clicking add. It will automatically add the another instance which I already created for that particular part. So, and then if we want any of the bolts means and nuts, if we can able to choose it from here and it will automatically add. You can able to see in our window. And then uh, here I'm adding the one smart fasteners for our like con patterned one, like circular patterned one. I'm just picking only one at one hole, but it will automatically populates for other instances like which we are patterned earlier. If we want, if I am going to change any of the pattern means just going to the part and changing the circular pattern into instances into changing it as number 10. It will previously having number 8 holes. I'm just changing it to 10 and then coming back to my
Muted. Unmuted.
hello, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Toolbox configurations. Well, if we inserting the toolbox configuration to our window, it will ask for us like how to create this particular component as a configuration or a create part using them. So it these are all managed using our toolbox configuration, as well as the hole wizard, the various types of holes, as well as if we want to add any of the new holes means we can able to add them using this toolbox settings. So we'll just see them briefly. Here how to just go to the design library and enable our toolbox configure toolbox. By clicking that, we can getting the toolbox configuration settings. Here we having more than 5 tabs. In the home page we can able to get these files, as well as in the first tab shows the whole wizard. Here the various standards were located, as well as if we by clicking them it will goes inside the particular hole type. And if we want to add any of the holes means we can double click that particular hole type. Here we can able to add the new type of hole if you want to add length like that. And then secondly, the toolbox set standards. Here the standard components, if I want to add new one more like custom toolbox parts which I am using for my projects, so I'm just creating one new custom library part, and I'm adding one of the component into this folder. Just browsing it. I'm going to add the PB bearing. Here this PB bearing has loaded over here. If we want to edit those descriptions and part name, we can able to add, edit or edit, for which we shows in our like final output. So I'm just clearing this description and giving only the PB bearing. I'm just finally saving them. If once I save this particular component, it will automatically update it in our toolbox. Here you can see that the custom part where the PB bearing is there. Just I'm dragging and using in our model. So like that, if you want to add your own custom parts or custom library parts toolbox, you can able to add over here and use them. And then the user settings. The next one is the user defined settings. So if we want to create any of the toolbox component, it will comes as configuration or else the part. If we want to create as a part means, it will be really helpful for our, if any of the customer is not using the design library means, they can able to create those part and use it as for their models. Also how the name displays in their model, like we can able to change them in the bill of material, how the part name, so and the bill of material descriptions we can able to change that. And the permissions, here is where the multiple permissions we can use for the editing any of the contents or the custom properties, or else if no one wants to change means we can set the password also. And for the smart fasteners, we can able to give the washers like the exact match or the greater the tolerance values, as well as the fasteners changing if the nut were added, how the length of the nut bolt needs to add, we can able to change over here. And we can save these settings which will impact on our designing. Then now we are moving on to our weldments, the profile extrusions. um, the various profile sections are used for our various application in our standard profiles like C section, C channels, square tubes, pipes. These are, there is a lots of components in our weldment profile sections. If we want any of the custom profile we are using in our site means, we can able to add them. Let's see how to add those files. Here I'm having on boss extrude and having those profile, that aluminum profile section. So I want to use it for my upcoming projects, so I'm going to use like save this particular profile into my weldment profile section. First of all, I'm just giving the description of the particular part, and then just I'm going to save this part as a library feature part. So I'm just giving the descriptions, and I'm just saving it. Now I'm just saving this file as a library feature part. Just by selecting the library feature part, now I'm giving the name, as well as we needs to create a folder for our custom profiles. So there is a folder structure we needs to maintain. First I am just giving custom profile, and inside that there is a aluminum profile, giving the folder name, as well as inside of that aluminum profile I'm just giving this weldment profile like the size 50 cross 50 as my weldment profiles. So by maintaining this type of folder structure will helpful for our design process while we using in our upcoming design. Here I'm showing our the folder structure I just created in the my documents, where the custom profile and the aluminum profile and the final part like library feature part, which is at three levels of folders where I created. I am just using this. Before that, we just need to add this particular custom profile in our file location where the weldment profiles were located. So I'm just adding that newly created or custom profile, just selecting the aluminum profile, that custom profile folder, and selecting them. Now it is added over there, so I'm just clicking OK. it will get added. So now I'm going to use this particular profile which I created earlier. So I'm just choosing that custom profile, and inside that there is an aluminum profile and the size of 50 cross 50. And by selecting those group components, I'm selecting the outer edges. So the profile will flows over that particular sketch. And also I'm creating new group for the middle components, and you can see able to see that the profile has extruded, and for upcoming projects I can able to use them clearly. So next we see some of the real-time applications where we are using those types of profiles extrusions. If we here you can see that there is a window image over there. So if you want these type of profiles, we can able to create our custom profile and mapping them, and we can able to use them. And in the design library, so it is a centralized location for reusable elements like sketches, features, parts, assemblies. So it is a easy to access menu which is located in our SolidWorks. So here I'm using one of the standard design library component. I'm just creating one like linear fat linear hole patterns. I'm just dragging and dropping into my part, and I'm just choosing the which configuration like the size they have mentioned earlier. So I'm going to choose the size and the reference edges for locating that particular feature where I want to locate them. So selecting those edges as the references, and if I want to change any of the location dimensions means I can able to edit and move them. If I want to override any of the internal dimensions also, you can able to override it and just moving them using the override dimension settings. Also I'm just creating the particular dimensions as 190, and now I'm adding one more hole patterns like the circular hole pattern. I'm just dragging and dropping, and I'm selecting those references and just changing the values. So likewise we can able to use the standard library features into our model. If we want to add our custom library model or custom library parts, we can able to add them. We'll see them on upcoming session. So now if you are using any of the components for our standard parts, if we are using that particular part in our most of the projects means we can just add those parts or as features, we can use them and adding them in our new design library. So here I'm showing you how to create new design library and adding the folders into it. So I'm just creating one new design library file which I already created. So I'm just selecting that my libraries and click OK. So now I'm just created my new library. Inside that I'm just going to create one new folder for my sketches. I'm just giving the name as sketches for storing some sketches inside that. So it will also created. So now I'm going to create one extrude block. Just I'm using the center rectangle to use them to create them, and I'm going to create one sketch as a logo part. I'm going to use it for my upcoming projects. So I'm just creating one logo as T. So I'm just giving those dimensions to arrange them. And then finally we need to add this we need to save this particular sketch as a library feature part. So I'm just positioned that, and now I'm going to save this particular sketch as a library feature part. So I'm just selecting the library feature part. So I am going to save them in that particular library location where it's located. I'm just giving the name of the logo. Now here you can see that that particular sketch is converted as shows as L. Also there is a two folders were added over there, which is references. What are the reference we used for to create the particular sketch, and the dimensions what are used. And inside that there is a locating dimension and the internal dimension. If we want to locate that particular sketch, we just drag and drop that particular dimension into our locating dimension folder, so that we can use them to locate that particular sketch in our other models also. As well as that there is an internal dimension which is we cannot able to change from we creating on new features, because it will not shows in the particular model if you will be using those particular sketch in other models. Here I'm going to create one more new model. So I'm just creating a simple block, and then I'm just extruding this particular block, and now I'm just browsing my library, and there is a sketches folder. In the sketches folders I'm using, already I saved that sketches now. I'm just using this from there. Here it will asking for the configuration. I'm not creating any configuration. And then the references, I'm just selecting those both pages as the references, and then the dimension which I wants to edit, like position that particular component, so I can able to edit those components with those dimensions. As well as we can override the dimension values for the length and width, but the thickness, like that 10 mm we can't able to see over here because it is internal dimension, we can't able to change them. So now I am created that particular library feature, library sketch, into our another model. Like similarly, we can able to add the features into our design library. So now I am going to add these features like the boss extrude, like sir, like whole wizard and the linear pattern, and saving those file as a library feature part, and giving the name, and saving the new file as a features. So I'm just giving the name for this particular features. So I'm just giving as a plate and saving it. Same like our sketch what we created. So there is a reference folder and dimensions folders were created. On there we can able to just drag and drop to our locating dimensions. What are the dimension used to locate them? So we can moving those dimensions to our locating dimensions folder. I don't want any of the internal dimensions, so I'm just making it as it is. Okay, now I'm created. So I'm just saving it, and I am just use it for to my another model. So here I am creating one of the simple block using the center rectangle. I'm just extruding those things, and now from my libraries there is a features folder. Inside that which we have created earlier, it will be there. So now I'm dragging and dropping and selecting those reference edges to locate that. If we want to edit those reference like locations, means we want to edit, we can able to edit them. I don't want to any changes in this over dimension values, so I'm just clicking OK. This is how we can able to save our features to our design library. So now we are going to how to add the part or assembly to our design library. For those parts which are standard part we are using in our model or more times, so we can adding them to our design library, and we can use it as multiple times. So I'm just want this motor as my to my library part. So I'm just right clicking that particular motor name and just add to library, and selecting which folder I needs to locate that. As well as if I want to change any of the description or the file name, I can able to change them. And then finally by clicking OK, it will just goes to my located folder. Here in my parts hardwares, it will automatically update over there. Similarly for our assemblies also we can able to add them. So here I am adding one of the sub assemblies, like same procedure. and locating to that particular which folder we need to locate them, and we need to change any of the name or any description means we can able to change them, and finally adding them to our design library. So now I'm using these sub assemblies into my main assembly. So I'm just going to my main assembly. Here you can able to see that the motor assembly which we are added in our library. So I'm just dragging and dropping so we can able to use it for the multiple times. Then a forming tool. Well, the forming tool is the process where the material will undergoes for the deformation and acquire the required shape and size by applying the suitable stress such as compression, shearing and tension by using our tool and dies. So if most of the companies were using some standard bending feet, bending radiuses and bending thickness for according to their sheet metals. Here you can able to see that the mild steel, stainless steel, aluminum, under the what are the process they are following like air bending, coining. So like that they if they having the sheet metal thickness for that particular thickness, what are the bend radius and what are the K factors values they are following. Using this table, they are doing their forming processes. We'll just see them one by one. So here I'm going to create one punch for my sheet metal component. For that, I'm just using this forming tool feature. By clicking this forming tool feature, we need to select which phase I need to stop. If I want any of the phase to remove means, I just select the phase to remove, and then I'm just clicking the insertion point. By clicking the insertion point, we can able to position them. So once I created, here you can able to see that the color has changed. It is a forming tool. Now I'm going to save this particular form tool as a form tool part. This is a form tool part. Yes, SLD FTP form tool part, SolidWorks form tool part. I'm just creating one new folder for my custom punch. Okay, I'm just giving its name as the custom tools. And inside that folder, I'm going to save this particular punch as a custom punch. I'm just saving over there. So once I saved in our design library, there is a forming tool. I'm expanding it. You can able to see that the custom tools, and inside that there is a custom punch. So I'm going to create one base flange. I'm just creating one base flange and then inserting our custom punch into it. So I am inserted. If I want to change flip the tool, I can able to flip it, as well as any of the position which position I needs to position them. I can able to use it the dimension to position them, and finally click OK. Here you can able to see that the custom punch which you have created has created over successfully. As well as there is a standard punches and lowers, embossers, lances were already over there. So I'm just clicking on lower. It will mostly used to for our air vents. So the standard components I am just inserted. Then there is some of the real-time usages, like we are already seeing that the staircases, roofs, and the cabinets, and the different box. These are the some of the like sheet metal forming process and punching stamping processes. Now we just go to the SolidWorks routing. Well, similar to that, we are having in our SolidWorks routing is only available in our SolidWorks premium version. So by enable those add-in SolidWorks routing, we can able to use this particular library components for the piping, tubings, wiring components. For the piping components, the crosses, elbows, flange, and the control valves are over there. as well as for the tubing, tube fittings, tees, flanges, and these all has been managed using the routing library manager. So here I'm adding the SolidWorks routing. I'm just clicking it OK. I'm just going to create one flange and pipe routing for this particular assembly. So I'm just creating a socket welded flange to one of those cylinder. By picking and dragging and placing them, it will automatically snap the size. And then I'm going to add one more flange. I'm just by dragging and dropping it, I'm just adding it. And then by clicking those end points like connecting points, I'm clicking the auto route. It will automatically takes the pipe routing. If we want to change them, we can able to change. If we want to give our manual routing also, we can able to do it. So now I'm created that particular routing part successfully. And then the like routing manager tab, as well as there is also the particular other piping components are there located in our design library. They are preloaded. These are all managed using our routing library manager, from where we can able to switch what are all the components we are using and how the piping and tubing database are managed. So these components are already located in our database. So by filtering them, we can able to choose them and editing those components. If we want to import or export those data, we can able to export them. And then the library, like routing, creating those new library for routing components also, it is possible, similar to our toolbox settings. And these are the some of the real-time usages, like mostly the oil and gas industries using those piping and routing components, as well as the earth movers, SPM machines, and the electrical boxes were for the wiring and the other components. And then the cloud libraries, cloud libraries is using for SolidWorks content as well as the 3D components. So first we are going to see about SolidWorks content. If you want to use a SolidWorks content, means we need the internet connection. So by enabling the internet connection, and then we are just expanding the SolidWorks content, it will shows the preloaded blocks, circuit works, and the routing components using the international standards. If any of the standards are missing, as well as the welding standards, if any missing, means we can able to download it from there and using in our like locating to our mapped to our location, and then we can use them. So here I'm just going to download one weldment profile standard. Before that, we just see that what are the routing standards are available. If we want to download them, we will just click control and left click, so it will automatically download. So just locating where it will wants to download. I'm just locating as weldment folder. Selecting this folder, it will automatically download it. So I'm going to extract those file, unrestricted. Okay. Then we need to map them to our location, weldment profile locations. And then the final one is the 3D contents. By if we want to use this 3D experience market 3D component power supplies, we need 3D experience marketplace add-in to enable. It is free for all. To access this, we need the 3D experience login ID. If you don't having any login ID, means you can able to create over there. And finally, we search the component and using in our assemblies. So here I'm going to enable this add-in 3D experience marketplace. From the active session, I'm just clicking the 3D experience 3D component. It will directly shows to the 3D experience marketplace. I'm just clicking getting started. It will getting to our login page. So if you're having login, means you can directly click and enter your username and password. If you don't have, means you can create them by clicking create your 3D experience ID. It is free for all. You can able to create them. Okay. As well as once I log in, here you can able to see that these are the standard components which are already like preloaded. These are the latest version available. We are in the categories tab, as well as there is a welcome tab. In this welcome tab, we can able to see if we want any of the components, we can able to search them. Now we are moving to the welcome tab. Here it will shows how many of the content providers and how much they are providing. Like this much of components were provided over here. Using these components, we can insert them into our assemblies. As well as by creating this 3D experience login ID means it will used for our customer portal login also. And then the summary. So first we just see how the design library user interface and what are the usages of the design library. And then we just move to the SolidWorks Toolbox. What are the standard components and the whole wizard features usages and the smart fasteners, the configurations, what are they used for them. And then the custom profiles, we'll just create a new custom profile and adding and mapping to that particular location and just using them to our models. And then the adding new library features and sketches, parts, assemblies to our library, and we can able to use them easily. And the farming tool creation and the adding to our libraries, the farming tools to our sheet metal components, it will make us easier to work with. Also the SolidWorks routing components, these can also be able to use and managed in our routing library feature manager. And then the 3D SolidWorks contents and the 3D components, by using our cloud libraries we can able to download those components and we can map them and we can use it to our models. By following these steps we can able to like work faster, and we can able to save our time management and can able to release our drawings faster using this design library. Thank you all, thank you for attending.